Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you everybody for coming. Welcome. Ji Ayanu Saryanu. Today we are on Sidh Goshat, class number 21, and we are on Pauri number 38. If you recall, the Paurees before this were the Gurmat Paurees. So this is the obverse of it. So the earlier Paurees were Gurmat Paurees. Gurmat means from within the recesses of the Guru's mind. Now this is the obverse, this is the reverse situation. This is what happens when spirituality is not guided by instructions, directions and messages from the Shabad, from the Guru's mind. So the first verse of this Pauri is Ben Gor, that's where the stop is. Ben Gor par main aave jaye. The translation that's given to us in your book, which is derived from the internet version of Sant Singh MD, without the Guru, one wanders, coming and going in reincarnation. Ben Gor par main aave jaye. So by now you should be beginning to make sense of the worth of the translation. Yeah. So let me try and give you one or two critiques, and if you have any other, then we can look at that as well. Yeah. Of course, coming and going in reincarnation is not a Gurmat principle. So the Guru would not be talking about coming and going in reincarnation. This is a Vedic principle. This is a pre-1469 spirituality principle. It was there. The Guru has redefined it. The Guru has rejected it. The Guru has given it a novel, a revolutionary new meaning, in the sense that reincarnation is actually taking place in this life itself, here and in the now. It's taking place in our thought processes. It's taking a place within the deepest inner recesses of our mind. So that is the reincarnation that we should be concerned with. That is what is meant by spiritual death and spiritual rebirth. So that's going on all the time. Each time a good virtue comes into the mind, that's spiritual life. Each time any of the five vices takes control of our spirituality, of our life, then we suffer spiritual death. And each of these cycles, spiritual life and death, then goes into all these different mindsets. What in the Vedic belief system were life forms, in the Gurbani definition of reincarnation, it is mindsets, characteristics of the mind. And while the pre-Vedic reincarnation or cycle of birth and that happens after death, the Gurbani version happens while we are alive, in the here and in the now. Now that's something that we can control. That is something that we can prevent, and that is something that we can avoid. And that's what spirituality of Sikh is all about, to prevent that cycle that's going on in the deepest recesses of our minds, to prevent the mindsets from degrading, degenerating into lower forms of thought processes. Keep it steady, keep it high, keep it raised. That is what Sikhi is all about. So you see, that whole thing has been redefined and given a revolutionary new understanding of what it is. So therefore, in this case, Guru would not be going back into a concept that he has rejected from the start. And of course, the word reincarnation is actually not being used in the verse. There is no direct reference to reincarnation in this verse. Yeah. So let's look at the words one by one of these words. Ben is usually used for sense. It means bina. It means without. Now when you see the word Gora in poetic writing written form, it actually refers to the Guru. In very specific terms, it refers to the Shabad, not the physical Guru. So it refers to the Shabad. Even in more specific terms, it would refer to the directions and the message within the Shabad. Now that's where we want to connect. What we want to connect is not with the physical Guru, not with the physical Shabd per se. We want to connect with the messages, with the instruction, with the direction that is contained within the Shabd. So that when put together, then Bengur becomes sense the spirituality of the Shabad, or without the spirituality of the Shabd minus the spirituality of the Shabad. Now why it makes sense to translate it this way, Gurmukh Pyareo, is because the previous Pauris were all Gurmukh, spirituality of the Shabad. So this is a follow-up or a follow-through discourse of spirituality which is very well connected. So Pauri 38 connects to 37, 37 to 36, 36 to 35 and so on, and the other way around. Yeah, then we get a fuller understanding of what the other real messages that Guru is giving us. Now Parma comes from the word Parman. Yeah, the root of Parma and Parman is Param. Param at the dictionary level is a misunderstanding, misconception. Parama. So the Param is an illusion, is a delusion in the spiritual sense. The normal everyday usage, Param is something which is accepted to be true, but it is not true. In the temporal sense, उन्हें Param कहते हैं. They say Parama Paya, Parama Palya. Palna is to rare. In other words, this Param has been, Param, illusion, delusion have a way of planting themselves in our mind and sitting there forever. Yeah, that's why the word is Palana, and then it keeps growing. Once we have this suspicious delusion in our mind, it keeps developing, it keeps growing. So that is what a Parma really is. Yeah, it's illusion, it's delusion. Ave Jaye, it simply means coming and going, and in the context of spirituality, in the context of Param, what can happen to a Param? A Param can come and go. You see? So the Ave Jai is an adjective of the Param. So Param does not reincarnate into different, Param doesn't become a different June or a different life form. What happens to Param is Param can come, it can exist, it can develop, it can grow, and it can leave, and it can come back. So the Ave Jai is very specifically being used for Parman. So now we put it all together contextually. Yeah? Everything is being translated here, Gurmukh Pyareo, in context of this verse, in context of the previous Pauri, and in context of the entirety of Sidh Goshat, and then further in context of the entirety of Sikh spirituality. So we know in Sikh spirituality, for instance, that Ek refers to the one creator. So when we see an Ek somewhere, we understand by applying the context that Ek refers to the one single creator. When we see Duja, then we know that the context of the Duja is anything other than that one single creator. So that's what context is all about. Otherwise, Duja is simply second. Second doesn't make any sense. Why not third? Why not fourth? You see? So everything has to be looked at in context. So the context of Bengur comes from the earlier Pauri, which is Gurmukh. The context of Param comes from the position of not being directed, driven, instructed by the messages of the Shabad. So when the messages of the Shabad are not directing, instructing and leading our spiritual journey, then what happens is we hang on and hold on, build and create and develop illusions about this is the right spirituality, that could be the right thing, this may be it, I've been doing that, nothing is happening. All that illusion comes as a result of Bengur. So you see, Paramaso is being translated contextually. And Ave Jai refers not in an absolute vacuum thing dropping from the sky, parachuted there, reincarnation. No. Ave Jai refers to Param. You see how dangerous, one Param is dangerous in the sense that once it settles, it plants its roots deep inside. And sometimes when the roots are so deep, Gurmukh Pyareo, we trim the tree but the roots will make sure the tree grows back. That's how the danger of param is. That's why param is an ave-jaye thing, So we get rid of it sometimes, the illusion that perhaps this ritual is spirituality, that ritual is spirituality. But then we stop doing it, but the root is still there, and we are always drawn back, into the darker abscesses of our mind to go back to that very comfortable ritualistic position. So we put it all together. This is the meaning of this verse, bin gur parmain ave jai. Without the spirituality of the Shabad, spirituality remains in a state of cyclic delusion. So here it just says bin gur, but we know the gur is the Shabad, and by context, which is why it's in blue, Gurmat Pyareo, the context is coming from the previous verse. So if we do not have spirituality of Shabad to guide us, spirituality of Shabad at the very basic level is enlightenment, Gyan, Suj, Bhuj, realization, enlightenment. That means it cuts, light cuts darkness. Darkness does not have an existence on its own. Darkness is always defined as the absence of light. So in that sense, param does not have an existence of its own too. Param is simply the absence of Gora Shabad. It cannot appear in a vacuum. It appears as a result of us either not knowing the messages of the Shabd, not wanting to know, or misunderstanding them, or wrongly interpreting the messages of the Shabd. So that is the meaning of this word, ben gur parmain ave jai. Now the next verse of Pauri 38, ben gur kal na pavi thai. You see, immediately now that parmain verse must be sitting in your mind already. There is another dimension to param. Param is such a thing that it makes you work very, very diligently in whatever param you have accepted and developed. It makes you do it, redo it, do it more often, do it more many times. That's why the word kal is coming here. So this is again connected to the previous verse. Ben gur kal na pavi thai. Now the translation is, without the Guru, one's work is useless. Now you see what happens when you have a translation that doesn't take context into consideration. One's work is useless. So, we may want to ask, what is meant by one's work is useless? So this needs explaining in spiritual terms. What does it mean in the spiritual sense? So let's look at all the words of this verse one by one. Ben gur is the same thing which has been used in the previous verse. So ben gur means without the spirituality of the Shabd, minus the spirituality of the Shabd, or sense the spirituality of the Shabd. The kal is spiritual effort. So we need to keep this in mind, that the context of the first word to the last word on page 1429 is always spiritual. Every word has to be interpreted in the spiritual sense, because it is a spiritual text for a spiritual journey, by a spiritual seeker, for a spiritual objective. So kal is not work per se, it is spiritual effort. Na negated, negative, pame thai. Now literally, pame thai means to hit the target, achieve a desired outcome. So now in the spiritual sense, we need to specify what the desired outcome is. And in the spirituality of Gurmat, in the spirituality of the Shabad, spirituality of Sikhi, the desired outcome of our spiritual efforts, spiritual journeys and spiritual endeavors is all realization of the Creator within. So that is what it really means. So now you see, the earlier verse was Ben Gur Parme Ave Jai. Now the next thing that's going to happen in that kind of a param situation is Ben Gur Kal Na Pavi Thai. So when we are operating under the paradigms of an illusion or a delusion, then all the efforts that we are undertaking are going to be wasted spiritual endeavors. There are many illustrations that you can find in Gurbani. Padsha says, Seva Thodi, in other words, because we are not driven by the spirituality of the Shabad, our spirituality is very limited. That's the meaning of Seva Thodi. Seva Thodi does not mean that you have washed only 10 cups and you ought to wash 20 cups. That's not Seva in the spiritual sense. That's humanity. That's helping others, helping an institution grow and develop. Gurbani doesn't go there. That's left to our intellect. Yeah? We have given an intellect, we have a thinking faculty, and we are supposed to use it to the benefit of ourselves and benefit to others. So Seva Thodi means the spiritual endeavors are so limited. Bangan Bauta means our expectations are high. We want big results, doing basically nothing. That is Seva Thodi Bangan Bauta. Mahal na pave, mahal is destination, the outcome, the realization within. Na pave. So that doesn't come. But because we are driven by illusion and delusion, which is deep rooted in our minds, what happens is we haven't reached there. So Pasha says, Theva Thodi Mangan Bauta, Mahal na pave, keh to pahunta. And the mind makes up its own conclusion that basically I have got it. I have reached there. Now this is the spirituality that is driven without the messages of the Shabad. That's either driven by hearsay or driven by stories and Sakhis and what have you. But spirituality of Shabad is not that. Bhai Gurdas is a beautiful illustration of a bull, whose eyes are covered, and the function of this bull is to walk around a well, either to draw water or to turn something or to churn some oil out of seeds. So now this bull is under an illusion that I am walking. Perhaps that is not the exact illusion, but the illusion is that I am getting somewhere. You see, that's what the meaning of Mahal na pave. That I'm getting somewhere and eventually I'm going to get somewhere, there's going to be a reward. I'm going to get some very nice, luscious green grass to eat or something. But he's जैसे बैल तेली को जानत कई कोस चलियो. So he thinks that I've been walking a great distance, kai ko, very many miles. Nain ugarat, but at the end of the day, from morning 9 to 5, walks around the whole thing. When the nain ugarat, when the coverings of the eyes are opened, nain ugarat wahan thao hi tikano hai. He is exactly where he began. So that's illusion. So a lot of endeavors, Kal Kalana kehande ya. Japji has this verse, in the final verse, Jinni Naam Te Aya. Naam Te Aya is the practice, the endeavors of spirituality in Sikhi. Naam Te Ana, the acquisition of godly virtues. Naam, godly virtues. In Sikh spirituality, God is a collection of virtues, a collaboration of virtues, a conglomeration of virtues. And we realize that Creator, who is a collection of virtues, by adopting these virtues, by realizing the virtues, by understanding the virtues, by believing in the virtues, by accepting the virtues, and by becoming the virtues. Onu kehndya naam te aya. Jinne naam te aya. What is it? Gaye mushakkat kal. So that's the word, kal. Kal is Sanskrit, mushakkat is Arabic, and they mean the same thing. They means endeavor, they means effort. And the effort, कहने ਆਪਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਧਿਆਉਣਾ, ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ, ਨਾਮ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਕਰਨੀ, ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰਨਾ, the practice, whatever you may have in your mind, whatever this means, yeah, to you, the spirituality of the Shabd does not agree that that is the meaning of Naam Japna, Naam Tyana, Naam Da Abhyas Karna. Naam Japna is to realize the virtues. Naam Da Abhyas is to put those virtues into our life in the practical sense. That is Abhyas. Abhyas means exercise. Abhyas karo. It means practice, it means exercise, it means do the thing again and again. What is to be done again and again? The inculcation of the virtues. So truth is a virtue, and the speaking of truth is not a one-time thing. It is not a one-time offer. Yeah, it's not a buy one get one free kind of a thing. It has to be done again and again. Truth must be spoken all the time, at every instance, at every occasion, particularly at occasions where it is detrimental to speak the truth. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਅਭਿਆਸ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾਮ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ. The kamai basically is the earnings, and the earnings of such a deed of speaking the truth. This is just one virtue. There are many other virtues: courage, bravery, assisting others. All these virtues have to be done genuinely, all the time. So they become second nature. ਆਪਾਂ ਸਹਿਜ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ. They become part and parcel of our existence, of our character, of our life, of our behavior, and our attitude towards creation. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾਮ ਅਭਿਆਸ, and this is a kalana. So Pacha says, Ben Gor Kal na Pavai Thai. Sense the spirituality of the Shabad, my spiritual efforts do not create realization of the Creator within. This is the meaning. It doesn't mean that in that parama, that illusion, that's coming and going state of mind, I am not making efforts, that I am not doing something. The famous story of the monkey who became a king in the jungle comes to mind. Yeah? The lion fell sick, and the animals in the jungle had to elect a replacement. And monkey, because he was very popular and very high entertainment value, got elected as the king of the jungle. And the moment the other pride of lions discovered that in that part of the jungle the lion was sick and a monkey had been elected as the leader, they decided to invade. So now you have a whole pack of lions coming to take over the whole territory, and monkey, of course, is not going to sit quiet. So this monkey undertakes 1,500 jumps, another 1,500 high level leaps, from tree to tree, from branch to branch. And when the pride takes over, everybody is asking this monkey, why didn't you do anything? He says, what do you mean I did nothing? I have never done so much in my life ever. Did you see me jumping 1,500 trees, jumping 1,500 branches? The illusionary state, the ritualistic state does not produce results. And when we go back into our own minds or into the minds of those who share this kind of illusion with us, the normal answer is Kari ja, Kari ja, Kari ja. Keep at it. Keep at it. You're not getting anything because you're not doing it enough. So keep doing. So eventually they do a lot, but they get nothing in return. But the person who is driven by the spirituality of the Shabad does not have to do anything that is out of the way, anything that's wasteful. Everything. So Ben Gor Kal na Pavi Thai, if the spirituality is the Shabad, then sab kuch Kal Thai Penda. Kabir has a striking verse in this regard, of people who toil, people who endeavor at great lengths and depths under illusion. Aso acharya dekheo Kabir. The spiritual world is so astonishing, says Kabir. It's astonishing, amazing, acharya, beyond description. I am shocked. That's the meaning of acharya. Aso, this level of disbelief, aso acharya dekheo Kabir, dad ke pole verole neer. Dud, milk. Yogurt. People churn yogurt and milk. How much of effort do you need to churn yogurt and milk to get butter out of it? Because you know what to churn, because you know how to churn, then the effort is all being beneficial. Every churn, every strike, every circle of the Madani is going to produce butter. But look at what Kabir is saying. Aso acharya dekho Kabir dad ke pole virole neer water. People have a bowl of water and they keep churning and they keep churning and churning and churning and churning. Are they not churning? Yes. Are they not endeavoring? Yes. They are endeavoring more, because the guy who's churning milk is going to get better in about 5 minutes. This guy is going to spend 50 years churning and churning. Nothing going to come out of it. Dad ke pole virole neer. And there can be two outcomes at the end of the day. Somebody is going to say that butter doesn't exist. That is saying that God doesn't exist. The butter in the milk is God. Yeah? The realization of the Creator. We churn and get realization. Now when you churn water, there's no realization. There is no outcome of it. So the outcome can be two. The outcome can be somebody cannot declare that there is no God. Yes, true, there is no butter in water. The water part is forgotten. Or somebody is just going to say, I'm just going to give up. I'm disillusioned completely and I'm not going to do anything of this sort anymore. So I have gone to the Gurdwara 40 years, nothing happened. I'm sitting at home for the next 40 years. I have gone on pilgrimages to all the historical Gurdwaras and nothing really happened, nothing really changed. Just last week I was in Ipoh and met this very bichari, pathetic lady who came and told me, give me the answer to this question. She says, I have been doing my 5 banis and I've been doing additional Sukhmani Sahib for the last 15 years on a daily basis. God hasn't even given me a house. Me, my husband and my kid don't even have a house. Churn water, this is what's going to happen now. I took a long time explaining to her, and I hope she got the message that it isn't God's duty, task, job description to come around building houses. Let's get that part right first. Because up on the stage in Ipoh Gurdwara, I had said that God creates everything at one go. She says, "Tusi gal kahi si hote that God creates everything one go. Why hasn't He created my house?" No, I said God created the materials, the elements of a house at one go. All the silica, all the calcium, all the iron, all whatever is required for the building of a house was created by the Creator at one go. So you cannot go there and ask Him to create more sand, more silica, more cement, more this and that. But He also gave humanity and mankind an intellect at the same time at one go. We all have the intellect. So now the assembly of everything that God created at one go, that assembly, that putting together, that's our job. That's the use of our intellect. So do it. If you can mix up the cement and put the bricks together and create a house, then you can do it. If you can't do that, get someone to do it. That's intellect. If you can't get someone to do it, buy a house that has been created by someone. What do you need to do for that? You need to make an effort to make the money. That's why God gave you an intellect. You see, everything falls in place. So 15 years you have not made money. 15 years you have churned water. So you don't have a house. You can carry on churning it for the next 15 years. Nothing's going to happen. But all is still not lost. Go get a job. Yeah? Go earn some money. Go save it. Go use your prudent nature to put some money aside. And 15 years you will have enough to put a down payment for a house. See, we've got it all upside down. No? That's why, see, not that they're not making effort, but because the effort is being made with an illusion deeply rooted in the mind that all I got to do is to do this ritual and these readings of so many X number of times, and then I'm going to ask and demand for things, and they are going to happen. See? The spirituality of a Shabad doesn't teach us all that. Awwal Allah, नूर अपाया कुदरत के सब बंदे, एक नूर ते सब जग उपजया कौन भले को बंदे। माटी एक, you see the elements of creation are by the one creator and they are all being created at one go. माटी एक अनेक भांत कर. Now the task of assembling it into different ways and different means and different things, that is intellect, that is human endeavor, that is progress, and that's what we are supposed to do. But we are not doing that. We are, churning water instead of making endeavors, and that is why our spirituality doesn't get anywhere. So this is a very important Pauri Gurmat Pyareo. Those Siddhs and those yogis that had come before Guru Nanak for the discourse, now nobody can say that they had not endeavored. Nobody can say that they had not done the kalana of the mushakat. In fact, the kalana and the mushakat that they did, I mean, it's unimaginable to think that you have to give up, your loved ones, your spouses, your children, your family, your communities, your society. You have to give up civilization, to go sit in some cold mountain somewhere and do what they were doing. That is kalana. But that is not going to produce the results that Guru Nanak says ought to be the results of spirituality conducted according to enlightenment, and that is realization of the Creator within. Once we realize the Creator is within, then He is within us, He is within the mountains, He is also within the society that we left behind, the culture that we left behind, the village we left behind, the loved ones we left behind, the children, the spouses, the family. That is Him. Farida Khalak Khalak Main. Khalak Khalak, the Creator. Farid, the Creator is in creation. Farida Khalak Khalak Main. Khalak Vasai Rabb Mahe. See? This is spirituality of the Shabad. This is enlightenment. Once we get this kind of enlightenment, there is no need to do any kind of wayward kalana, of tapa, japa, all the difficult stuff that people do, and sufferings that people take on their physical bodies, all in the name of a spiritual realization. Yeah? The next verse, Gurmat Pyareo, Ben Gora, Manua, At Dulai. All these are manifestations of the Param. The Param is the one that's creating all this. Yeah, of course, the root of it is because we don't have the enlightenment. Param is defined as the absence of enlightenment in the spiritual sense. Now, the translation given to us, without the Guru, the mind is totally unsteady. Again, this is a translation which is not done within the context of what is the ongoing discourse of the Pauri. So, when we say the mind is totally unsteady, this has to be elaborated in spiritual terms. Yeah? What does it really mean? How does it actually apply in our spiritual journeys? So, for that we need to look at all the words of this very short and concise verse, Gurmat Pyareo. Ben Gora means without the spirituality of the Shabad. The same concept is running. Manua refers to the mind. The root of Manua is Man, which is the mind. When the word At comes anywhere in Gurbani, it means either an extreme or it means a constant, something that has really rooted itself in the mind. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਤ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ. ਅਤ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਕੁਲੀਨ ਚਤਰ ਮੁਖ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਧਨਵੰਤ. There's a verse in Gurbani by our gurus. At Sundar, extremely beautiful. Now let's look at the temporal meanings, the dictionary meanings. At Sundar, extremely beautiful. At Sundar Kolin, Uchi Kola, a very high genealogy, which means a very high caste. At applies to all. Yeah? At Sundar, At Kolin, Chatar. Chatar means extremely intelligent. At Sundar Kolin, Chatar Mokh. Mokh there means Mukhi, means a leader. Mokh, Gyani. Gyani means knowledge, wise, wisdom. At Sundar Kolin Chatar Mukh Gyani Tanvant. Tanvant, extremely wealthy. I'm explaining the word Aarti, yeah? How it's put into context. At Sundar Kuleen Chatar Mukh Gyani Tanvant Mirtak Kaiya Nanaka. Marya hoya hai. Who has got, nobody in the world has all these 6 qualities at one go. That's why the word At is used. In other words, all the qualities in extreme and being present in one human being. Even then, such a human being is actually dead. Mirtak Kaiya Nanaka, he is not physically dead, he is spiritually dead. Mirtak Kaiya Nanaka, on what condition? Jahan Preet Nahi Bhagwant. But there's no realization. Preet, love no kehte, when there's no realization, no connection, no love with the one who created all of this. We come back to this verse. Ben Gor Manua At Dolai. Dolai comes from the word dole. The root word is dole, it's unsteady. So yes, that is the literal meaning of the word dolai, but we are using it in terms of a context here, which is spiritual context, and it is a context not just of the verse, man. So how can you say that the man is, up and down, shaky, not in a permanent, constant state of focus? So that is how you need to interpret the word dolai. And of course, the context is coming from the first verse, Ben Gora Parme Ave Jai. So it must be translated in terms of the param itself. So that is wandering. Something that is not steady, something that is not constant, that something that is not sahaj, something that is not tekya hoya. They say in our gurdwaras, when the pracharaks call of us, apne man no tekao. Okay, because the man is running all over the place. The man is wandering. That's why the translation is wandering. So the opposite of wandering is tekao. Manu tekao means bring your mind into focus here, into stillness here, into a state of unshakiness, if you like. Now we put it all together. Ben Gor Manua At Dolai translates as, without the spirituality of the Shabad, my mind adopts a state of constant wandering. It's in a state of constant wandering. Now, of course, Gurmat Pyariya, we are talking about spiritual wandering. We are not really talking about temporal wandering here, although the two may be connected, but spiritual wandering. Now, why is it spiritual wandering? Because verse 1 says, Ben Gor Parme Ave Jai. The param, the illusion of a verole need of churning water, that illusion of the rituals that we do, that has planted itself very, very strongly in the mind. And when we search for answers to a non-existent outcome, then the mind starts to wonder. Am I doing right? Do I need to stand on one foot to do it? Do I need to do it at 3 o'clock and not 4 o'clock? Do I need to do it with my eyes closed? Do I need to do it with my fingers touching? Do I need to do it facing east? Do I need to do it sitting down? You see, this is the wandering. This is the wandering. And the entire universe of clergy thrives on this wandering. They thrive on it. Because whatever it is that you say you do, if you sit and do it, then, oh no, that's not the way. Who told you that? You need to stand and do it. If you stand and do it, oh my God bless you. You're standing and doing, you need to lie down and do it. This is the capital, this is the share market. I call this the share market of clergy spirituality. They invest in these shares. Samjhai hun? Yeah. And they generate, yes. You see? And these are all public listed companies. And their headquarters, the stock index is where, Gurmat Pyareo? The Gurdwara. That's the stock index. That's where the clergy comes together. So you have a company that churns water. A clergy that actually comes to the share market and lists a public company called the spirituality of churning water. And people run to invest. That is why it is said mandolai, because the mind, when it is rooted in a param, it is by definition going to wander. So when you walk into a stock market, when we are driven by this param, this illusion that I am going to make instant money in the share market, then the mind starts to run from counter to counter to counter to counter. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Isn't that what we do? Trying to give you a analogy that works or that makes sense in our daily lives. Let's move to the next verse. Ben gur tripata nahi bek khai. Without the guru, one is unsatisfied and eats poison. Eats poison. Yes, bek is poison. And I keep saying this, it has to be translated in the spiritual context. Eating poison is literal, Gurmat Pyareo, and needs to be explained in spiritual terms. You've got to step up from the literal, from the temporal into the spiritual realm to be able to make sense of this. Now this is coming out from the deepest recesses of Guru Nanak's mind. Guru Nanak cannot be talking about such low level basic things that if you don't have the Guru, you're going to consume poison. It doesn't make sense for Guru Nanak, because Guru Nanak does not invest in the share market we just spoke about. Right? His is a private limited company. You are either on board or not on board. No buying and selling of shares there. So Guru Nanak would not say that. Okay, again, Ben Gaur, the same thing, sense the spirituality of the Shabad. Tripata, we say in normal Punjabi, मैं रज गया. Tripata, Tripati ho gayi. Satiated. In other words, you have had enough. Nahi negate, bek, yes, poison. In spirituality, especially in the spirituality of Guru Nanak, spirituality of Sikhi, bek are vices, poison of the mind. The vices are the one that are destroying the well-being of the mind, poisoning the mind, so to speak. Khai is to consume. So now, Gurmat Pyareo, we're going to put it all together and come up with the translation of this verse. Ben gor tript nahi bek khai means without the spirituality of the Shabad to guide our spiritual journeys, the mind remains consumed in vices and unsatiated. Now the word unsatiated applies both ways. The general meaning, the general feeling in your mind would be unsatiated spiritually, but Guru is using it both ways. Unsatiated even from the vices perspective. Remember the first verse, Ben Gaur Parmay Ave Jai. So the param itself creates unsatiation. In other words, we are never ever going to be satisfied with our efforts towards an illusion. We are going to be always dissatisfied. So take back the same example, Gurmat Pyareo, Dadke Pole Berole Neer, the one who is churning water obviously is dissatisfied that no butter is coming out. But he is also dissatisfied, unsatiated in the churning, in the sense that the mind is telling him, keep churning. Churn more. Keep at it. Kari jao, one day lightning will strike and then butter would appear from your activity of churning water. Next verse, Ben Gaur Bisir Dasse Mara Vaat. Without the Guru, one is stung by the poisonous snake of Maya and dies. Okay? Stung by the poisonous Maya needs explaining and kind of out of context. Yeah? Dies is a literal translation. We have to explain what is Guru talking about. Marvat. What really dies? You know? What really comes to an end? What really terminates? So that's what we need to find out. One by one, all the words. Bisir, the Sanskrit word for snake. In this context of the spiritual discussion that's going on here, it refers to the vices. Dasya is what we call in Punjabi dang marna. Sap dang marda, or you can say sap dasda. Suffer or effect. So when there is a snake very close to us, the effect of the presence of a snake in the physical sense is going to produce an effect, which is more likely than not we are going to be stung. Mara means death, but because there's a word vat next to it, so the context of mar now becomes in relation to the word it is being used for. Mar is not being used for physical or spiritual, it is being used for the vat. Vat is journey. Of course, a spiritual journey, you know? Okay. So, this is the meaning of the verse. Ben Gor Bisir Dasa Marvat, sense the spirituality of the Shabad. Our vices cause our spiritual journey to suffer termination. Dasa Marvat. The spiritual journey comes to an end, or rather, it doesn't even begin, because of the impact or the effect of the vices on our mind. So, what is the spirituality of the Shabd going to do about this? You see, that's why the earlier verses from the previous Paurees, if you can recall, the basic construct of spirituality of the Shabd is it provides Suj, Bhuj, enlightenment, knowledge about what are the vices, how do we bring the vices within the parameters of control, how do we bring the senses into line with the conscience, which means how do we prevent the senses from overduly becoming a slave to the vices. See? So that is the function, the role of spirituality of the Shabad. This is the last verse, the final verse of Pauri 38. Nanak Gurbena Kate Kaat. O Nanak, without the Guru, all is lost, is the translation given to us in our book. Again, all is lost is a rather literal translation. We have to again bring it up into the spiritual domain for it to make sense in our spiritual journey. So, Benegora refers to sense the spirituality of the Shabad, Kate of loss. Kat is loss. So, when you say Kata pe gaya, then you take it one notch higher, you probably say bahut kata pe gaya. Then you take it one notch higher and say sara hi kata pe gaya. And the only way to take it one notch higher or sara kata pe gaya, ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਘਾਟਾ ਹੀ ਘਾਟਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇੱਥੇ ਘਾਟੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਘਾਟਾ. Even if you make a loss, you're going to make a loss in the loss itself. Okay, so this is how the verse is going to translate. Nanak Gorbene Kate Kaat, Nanak, sense the spirituality of Shabad, I suffer immense loss in my spiritual journey. Immense loss. In other words, there's absolutely nothing that I can gain if I were to abandon the spirituality of the Shabad in my spiritual journey. So you see, the conclusion always ties into the previous verse, which is Gurmukh, spirituality of the Shabad, spirituality of messages emanating from the Guru's mind. Okay, Gurmukh Pyareo, we are done with Pauri number 38, and let's spend some time on Pauri number 39. Jis Gur mila tis par utare. One who meets the Guru is carried across. All right. So you can talk about three issues here. One is meeting the Guru is literal. it supports the notion that Guru is a physical entity. Now this is the share market we spoke about. There's one company there that's called Guru is physical, you know, and this is the company that's all the time in the black. These are the special counters, the top 10 counters that Guru is physical. Very difficult to come out of this if you have invested in it. Guru is physical. So everything is translated Gaur Milya, we are going to meet the Guru. So how do we meet the Guru? When the Guru is Shabad, they don't go there. That company doesn't exist in the share market of the clergy. Carried across against literal, and of course the context, the previous body is absolutely missing. It's like the previous body didn't exist. Alright. Jessa in the external context refers to who? Somebody out there. But when we look at the applicability of this verse for ourselves, then just becomes when. Those moments when I do something right, those moments tesa. Jessa and tesa. Now jess and tesa in the dictionary sense, jinnane, jinnane, tinane. But spirituality is not about jinnane, tinane. What does it matter to me, jinnane, tinane? What matters to me is when I do it and when I don't do it. So just this all has to apply to me. There's one clergy company, top 10 again, in the share market of the Gurdwara, that's called the Aap company. Aap means the creator does everything. The creator will build your house, the creator will take care of your job, the creator will find you a wife and find you a husband and give you a kid and everything. Ape aap. You see? That's in high demand. Then because then I have to do nothing. No? I just aap means the self. It is all dependent on me to make the choices and transverse the correct paths of spirituality. Where does it come from? Apana hathi apana. Apana hathi apana ape hi kaj savariya. Spirituality of the self, for the self, by the self. Has to be done again by the self. You know? So just gol milay. So this business of milay in the physical sense, we really need to remove it from our minds. Just is when, so Gora, again messages of the Shabad, spirituality of the Shabad. Bilay literally is beat, but in the spiritual sense is realized. Creator is within. Tesa then. Parotare, literally, there are two sides of every body of water. Ek nu kehndे ਆ ਆਰ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਪਾਰ. ਆਰ ਪਾਰ. So ਆਰ ਤੋਂ ਪਾਰ. Now that's a metaphor. That's a metaphor for getting across. But really in the spiritual sense, it is about reaching the goal of spirituality. As if getting across was the goal itself. Now these metaphors are very specifically chosen. Guru Nanak the Gurus could have chosen any other metaphors, but this is a very interesting metaphor. Now I give you, because this is a metaphor that applies very well to spirituality. People who stand on R and keep dreaming of the power. And that's a very beautiful, feeling. You just stand at the side of the ocean and think what's the other side, without making any effort to get there. And, you can come and do that all the time and you can feel good about it. But that is a parama that I can actually get across by just imagining or thinking or illusioning myself that there is a power and one fine day something is going to happen and I'll get there. So it's a very useful analogy to use, in terms of parama in these verses here. Just go to Belayatis Paravtare, realizing the messages within the Shabad is to realize the goal of one's spiritual journey. And the goal of our spiritual journey is to realize the Creator within. So that part in blue, which defines the goal, is not in this body, it is not in the previous body, but that context is the context of Gurmat. The context of Gurmat is to realize the Creator within. It is not to go looking for the Creator at some specific location or some specific time and place. He's there within us all the time. Jis gur mila tis par utare. It's when I realize the messages, then I obtain the goals. That's what it means. Now in English you don't really have to use the word then and when, because realizing tells you that that is a context of something happening during a certain time. So when realization happens, so realizing the messages, each time I realize the messages, then I am on the way to achieving the goal of my spiritual journey. Avaguna meta guna nistare. The residues of his sins and mistakes are erased, and he is emancipated through virtue. I really don't know what it means by residues of sins and mistakes. I'm just going to take it face value, but I think it needs elaborating. Yeah? And anyway, this business of erasing sins and mistakes is not a Gurmat concept. Again, this is another big company in the top 10 in the share market of the clergy, erasing sins, and all the shares sell very well. Yeah, do this and your sins will be erased. Say this prayer and your sins are erased. Pishle augana bakshla, twisting of the verse. Prab age marg pave. With the prab age marg pave, they forget about it. They don't bother too much about it, but they sell the shares by saying Pishle augana bakshla. All your past sins will be erased. So put down your pens for a while and let me give you a couple of verses regarding this business of erasing sins and mistakes. In other words, after listening to me, you're supposed to go and download all your shares that you have bought in this erasing the sins company, you know. In Gurmat, it is Jeha Bija So Luna. In other words, when an act is committed, we have to pay for it. There is no such thing as getting it erased. So we need to think before we do it. But now the stock market is so well selling, because when you say I can get it erased by something, then I'm going to keep doing it. So I can keep committing all the sins. End of the year I'll get something done to erase it all. See, that's why it sells. But that's not a Gurmat concept. Gurmat says, Jeha bija so luna. All that, and as we sow, as we undertake the acts, so luna, we have to pay, suffer the consequences, the good and the bad. When karma sandara khet. In the lifetime, life is a field. And when we sow in the field, then the fruit is going to bear, because it is our tree, our seed, because it's our field, we are responsible for enduring the fruit that comes out of the actions that we sowed. Jeha bija so luna. So this doesn't jive, doesn't make any sense with erasing sins. That means I can plant apples, and then at the end of the day, when the apples are fruiting, I make up my mind and say apples are too cheap. I'm just going to, do a little bit of a transformation here. Go to the company and buy some shares and get a Baba to do in Ardas, and lo and behold, apples will become bananas, because bananas are in vogue now. That's not going to happen. Now, Banda Changa Apana. This is a very, very common verse. Everybody has got it. Banda Changa Apana. Banda Changa refers both to the acts and to the consequences. So the acts are mine and the consequences are mine. Banda Changa Apana Ape Hi Kita Pavana. So where is this whole story about erasing? What is it that's going to end up erasing? No, there is no erasing. There is planting and there's sowing. There is no erasing. Jaisa kare so taisa paye. What can be clearer than this? Guru Granth Sahib, Jaisa kare so taisa pave, ap beej ape hi khave. Now this verse, ape beej ape hi khave, appears at least 10-15 times across Gurbani, across Guru Granth Sahib. Now listen to this one. This is very nice. Dadde dosh na deu karte. Karta, creator. Do not ever try to pass on the consequences to the creator of our acts. Kita मैं ते अरदास करके रब दे उत्ते पाता, तू सां मैनू, है ना? झूठ मैं बोलिया ते झूठ दी कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस सच्चे पातशाह तू सांभ, पिछले आओ गुण बख्श लै. But Bani doesn't. दद्दा दोष ना देऊ करते दोष कर्मा अपनिया. Karma, actions. The consequences are the result of my own doing, of my own deeds. And I have to stand up, be a spiritual man enough to admit that these are my actions. Dadda dosh na devu karte dosh karma apneya, jo main kiya so main paya. You see? What can be clearer than this? Jo main kiya so main paya, dosh na dije, forget about the creator. Na? Dosh na kije avarjana. Don't even blame the person next to you. ਗੱਲ ਮੁੱਕੀ, absolute clarity होगी. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ spirituality of the Shabd. See, spirituality of the Shabd creates crystal clear clarity in the mind. There is no, hogwash, wishy-washy, idhar-udhar kind of stuff. Hoga, maybe, probably, 10%, 20%. Nothing of this sort in Gurbani. Provided we make an effort to get to the messages. So, you see, we've got to the messages. So, this business of erasing sins and mistakes, that is, sorry, Sikh Jagata, all of us are into this. All the things we are doing is all about erasing. No, it is not about erasing, it's facing up to the consequences. That is Sikh spirituality. So, when we face up, we bear the consequences, then we take responsibility and accountability of our actions, and then we are able to say that from now on, from this point on, I am taking accountability for what I sow, what I plant, what I speak, what I see, what I think, and what I utter. Because once I've uttered, once I've seen what I've spoken, then I have to bear the consequences. So there's no erasing, there's no erasing of sins or whatsoever. This stands as one of the tallest bluffs that the clergy has ever provided to the spiritually misguided, that your sins can be erased. Someone else will bear your sins. That the provision of certain acts, certain readings, certain rituals, certain promises, sukha sukhniya kehande hai, that somehow that will end up erasing our sins. First of all, we don't even know what sins we are carrying around, what burden we are carrying around. We don't know what to erase in the first place. How is the second person going to tell us, हाँ जी ठीक हो गया, हुण तुहाडे सारे पाप धोते गए? This is the biggest clergy bluff that anybody can come up with. Avgana bete gund nistare. Okay, so guna, virtues, Avgan, human vices, the opposite of guna. Beta is eliminated, but because we have Avgan and Gun in the same verse, then the context requires us to use either replaced or substituted. One is going to go out and one is going to come in. So that's where the word replaced gives us an accurate meaning of this verse. Guna, virtues. Nistare has got multiple meanings, but the literal meaning of nistare is safe. Tar gaya jino kehde tar gaya, safe ho gaya, Now there's a Punjabi word nistara karna, and translates into English as redeem. So when you've invested something, you want redemption, or nistara kehne a. Realizing the messages within the Shabad. This is from the previous verse. Realizing the messages within the Shabad replaced my vices with savior virtues. Nistare. You can even use the word redeem if you want. By realizing the messages within the Shabad, I have redeemed godly virtues. So the redemption of godly virtues happens because there was a loss of godly virtues. The loss of godly virtues was caused by the preemption of our vices. The vices taking over our state of mind. So now when they are replaced, then redemption happens. The crux of the matter is that the virtues are needed to replace the vices, that have taken over our spiritual journeys and our spiritual processes. Okay, we move to the next verse, Gurmat Pyareo. Mukt Mahasukh Gur Shabad Vichar. The supreme peace of liberation is attained. Mahasukh is translated as supreme peace. If Mahasukh is supreme peace, then what do we contrast it with? The supreme peace of liberation is attained contemplating the word of the Guru Shabd. I really don't know what this means. Word of the Guru Shabd. Shabd is word. So this is verbiage, needs clarification. And of course, context of the previous verses are all being ignored. So Mukta really does not refer to salvation kind of concept that existed in the pre-1469 spiritualities. So yes, there is a concept of mokta, mukti, liberation, redemption that happens after life. That's in the pre-1468 spiritualities. Now Guru Nanak has redefined mokta. So when the word mokta appears in Bani, it appears in two forms. It appears as Marana Mukta and Jivan Mukta, to make a distinction between the pre-existing concept and the redefined revolutionary concept. So, मुए हुए मुक्त जो देओगे, मुक्त ना जाने कोयला. That salvation that is said to be coming my way after I die, मुए हुए, I don't need that. Why? Because I have obtained Jivan Mukta. Now Jivan Mukta is redefined very, very clearly in Gurbani. Prabhu ki agya atam hitave Jivan Mukta so kahave. So redefined. So Mukta from the dictionary word unobstructed. The opposite of Mukta is Bandhan. Obstructions. So when there are no obstructions, then it is mokata. So ours is a mokata path. It is a path of spirituality that has no obstructions. No obstructions of rituals, no obstructions of parama, illusions, delusions, no obstructions of churning water and so on. Onu kehande are mokata.
So Jivan Mukta, you said?
Jivan Mukta. How do we then transverse the path of unobstructed spirituality? Prabhu ki agya Artam hit ave. Prabhu ki agya is the hukam of the Creator. So now I have obtained the unobstructed path because I have decided to adopt the spirituality of hukam. Like Pasha says in Japji, when the question is asked, Kev Sachiara Hoya, Kev Kuda Tutta Pal, the answer is Hukam Rajai Chalana. Hukam te Raja de vich chalana, to flow in the river of the hukam of the Creator. See, that is liberation, Gurmukh Pyareo. That is spiritual liberation. Once we accept that life is dictated by the Creator within me, I have lost the fear of death absolutely and completely, because the Creator is sitting right within me, driving my life as my life. ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਾਹਦਾ ਡਰ ਆ, ਕਾਹਦਾ ਫਿਕਰ ਹੈ? ਹੁਣ ਭਰਮਾਂ 'ਚ ਪਏ ਹੋਏ ਆ. When we go to the stock market and they tell us that this is life and this is death and this is how to avoid death, this is how to delay death, this is how to go against death, this is how to postpone death, this is how to send death to your neighbor's house. है ना? This is top 10 also, प्यारे. The stock market of clergy, this is a top 10 company. Yeah, people invest a lot in this. But you see, that is living in fear. So that is an obstructed path. Every step of the way we are obstructed. Fear. Get up in the morning, see a lizard up in the ceiling. Oh, बहुत माड़ा हो गया. ये कोई जीवन मुक्त है? प्रभ की आज्ञा. Back to the verse. Guru Arjan Pasha the verse है. प्रभ की आज्ञा. By the way, you are reading this every day, but the way I am pronouncing it, probably I think most of you haven't caught where this is coming from. Now you know where it came from. See, so simple. When you read Bani in a nonsensical way, everybody knows where it came from. When you read Bani to understand, Prabh ki agya atam hit aave. Not only am I going to surrender and let my life flow in the river of the Guru's hukam, I am going to fall in love in my mind with the hukam. I am in love with the hukam. Prabh ki agya atam hit aave. Hit is love. ਜਦੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀ ਆਗਿਆ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ, at that point of time ਸਾਡਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਮੁਕਤ ਹੈ. We are liberated. We are free. The moment that transforms into something else, we come back into the obstructed path. See? Somebody is going to do Aarti. Obstructed path. Number 9 in the share market. Aarti. What are the things I need? Have I got the correct things? How many circles do I make? What do I speak? What do I say? What do I ask? These are obstacles. Because I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it right. You know, parma pya hoya man de vich, because I've been doing it for so long and nothing happened. As a result of that, I've gone and done it at place A differently, place B differently, place C differently, place E differently. And then I checked on YouTube also. 6-7 videos I watched on how to do it correctly. So I've got about 13, 14, 15 versions in my head. So all the time I'm worried. Now comes Guru Nanak and says, Oh Gurmukh Pyarya, Aarti karan di lod nahi, Aarti ho rahi hai. Liberated. Gagan mein thal. Tenu figure piya vi main thal keda lawa. In paradigm A, thal must be silver. Paradigm B, thal must be steel. Paradigm C, thal must be gold. Paradigm E, thal must be washed with water from this river, that river. So many paradigms. And Pansha says, Gagan mein thal. Rav Chand Deep, tenu figure laga dive kade lene hai. Sari convoluted and obstacle based spirituality. Nikalna kuch nahi. At the end of the day, nothing going to come out of it. Kaal na thai pae. But effort bada hai. 10 किस्म ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਵੈਣ ਲੈਣੀ, ਜਿਉਂ ਲੈਣਾ, ਆਲੂ ਲੈਣੇ, ਅਦਰਕ ਲੈਣਾ, ਗੰਢਾ ਲੈਣਾ, ਨਿੰਬੂ ਲੈਣਾ. ਮਾਈ ਗॉड, ਇਹ ਨਿੰਬੂ ਮੁੱਕੇ ਤੇ ਆਰਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ. ਕਾਹਦੀ ਆਰਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਿੰਬੂ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਆਰਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ. ਸੋ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ. ਗगन में थाल रवचंद दीपक बने, तार का मंडल जनक बोती. ਧੂਪ ਮਲਿਆਣ ਲੋ, ਧੂਫਾਂ ਜਗਾਉਂਦਾ ਫਿਰਦਾ. And the fragrance that is in the air around you created by the creator हो रही है. तूफ मलियान लो पवन चवरो करे तू तेनू फिगर लग्या मैं आरती करूँगा चंगा जा बंदा खड़ा होना चौर कर यार मेरी गल बनूगी तां बिकॉज यू नो वाई मैं आरती करन गया तो पता नहीं मैं तो सारा कुछ ठीक किया पर जो चौर करता सी ना वो बड़ा माड़ा बंदा सी सो इस करके ना मेरी गल बनी नहीं कर लो गल ये भी प्रोस्पैक्टस दे विच ही लिखिया होया सो दूजियां ते ब्लेम पाता सो वट कैन पांचा सेज पवन चवरो करे जड़ी हवा तुरी फिरदी है चौर ही है तार का मंडल जनक बोती कैसी आरती होए एक क्वेश्चन नहीं का कैसी आरती होए व्हाट एन आरती इज हैपनिंग कैसी आरती होए जो ना क्या बात है ये कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं का somebody says to you you know बेजर साहब क्या बात है so don't go and tell him हाँ जी बात ये है don't answer the question that's not a question क्या बात है is an exclamation कैसी आरती होए exclamation भव खंडना तेरी आरती हो रही है you just become part of it enjoy the wind है ना enjoy the skies enjoy the boti the jewels the stars that he has put into the thal of the cosmos हो गया ये है मुक्तब ये कोई ऑब्स्टिकल है कि कोई फिगर है भी पता नहीं इधर रात को तारे निकल लगे कि नहीं निकल लगे ये कोई फिगर वाली गल है पता नहीं अज पातशाह कहते चंद एक दीवा है पता नहीं रात को चंद निकलूगा ओए प्यारिया चंद निकले ना निकले आरती हो रही है एक तेरी आरती है जो दीवा बुझ गया तो तेरी आरती फेल होगी रब की आरती ये नहीं है So Mukt, unobstructed spirituality, Mahasukh, there is only one Mahasukh and that's spiritual joy. All spiritual joys are Mahasukh.
Sorry doctor.
हाँ जी.
Since you are on Aarti, is Aarti in our Sikhi?
No, it is not. Aarti is a very Vedic ritual. It is very, very specific, done for specific occasions. Certain number of circles done on the head, certain number on the waist, yeah, certain at the feet, certain done leftwards, certain done right ways, okay, certain done up, certain done down, and then the offerings are distributed. Yeah, it's a ritual.
They do it in the mandir though.
Yeah, they do it in the mandir. It's fine over there because they believe in it and that is their way. There's a pre-1468 spirituality. So there is no, the whole principle behind Aarti is if you have a deity, so Murti di Aarti utarni, that is the complete sentence of Aarti. Aarti kari di nahi, Aarti utari di hai. What does it mean Aarti utari di hai? Now the deity is believed to possess certain powers. Power in the head, power in the heart, power in the digestive system and power below there. So that's why certain number of cycles at the mind, certain at the stomach, certain at the heart. So that all this is going to go into that fire and then you're going to touch the fire and touch it to your face and touch it to your parts of your body. That's what Aarti is, Aarti utari di hai. So je Guru Granth Sahib di Aarti utaran lage, it means we are considering the Guru Granth Sahib to be a deity, which is not. Guru Granth Sahib is this, what we are discussing. This is what we need. The spirituality of the Shabad, the enlightenment, the messages, the meanings, that is what we need to utarna from the Guru Bani into our mind. So there is no ritual of Aarti. And Guru Nanak has settled it all once and for all that Aarti te hundi pai hai. So in other words, when we move in the Creator's law of nature and live and operate by the law of nature, we are part of the Aarti that's happening around us. Have I answered your question?
Thank you.
Hanji, you're welcome. Mokata, unobstructed spirituality, Mahasukh, spiritual joy, Gur Shabd, messages within the Shabd. Vichar is discourse. See, again, we have to look at the context of it. Yeah? When Mahasukh is already there, spiritual joy has already been mentioned in the verse, that means Vichar is not Vichar per se, but the outcome of the Vichar, the end result of the Vichar. So that's realization within. all vichar of Gurbani is going to move towards realizing the Creator within. So we put it all together. Mukta Mahasukh, Gur Shabd Vichar, two different outcomes, Mukti and Mahasukh. Realizing the messages within the Shabd is unobstructed spirituality towards spiritual joy. So the Mukta Panth, the Mukta spiritual way, the spiritual path that is unobstructed, that is contained within the messages of the Shabd that are contained in Gurbani. That is what in essence this verse really means. Try and contrast this with the previous Pauri. What was happening in the absence of the Shabd, and this is what happens when we adopt the spirituality of the Shabd. We move on to the next verse. Gurmukh kade na aave har. The Gurmukh is never defeated. Okay, the first thing is Gurmukh translated as the Gurmukh. Yeah? Now that is not a Gurmukh principle. It is not about creating Gurmukhs out there. It is not about us going and looking for Gurmukhs out there. And it is not about us searching for people who are Gurmukhs. It is about, at the human level, it's about becoming a Gurmukh. And becoming a Gurmukh is becoming the messages of the Shabd. Because Gurmukh really means from within the recesses of the Guru's mind. Guru de mukh vicho, Guru de man vicho, nikli hoi vichar. But if we adopt that, then we become that vichar, that messages. So again, the context of the previous verse is ignored. Gurmukh with the Sihari, from within the Guru's mind, messages within the Shabd, or in short, spirituality of Shabd, kade ever, na negative, not. Ave har literally is defeat. Failed spirituality. Now remember, the earlier verse was Mukta, so we have to contrast it now with Mukta. Mukta is the spirituality that we aim for. So here, then har would be failing to obtain that spirituality, failing or missing the goal, yeah, and to contrast it with Mukt in the previous verse. Okay, so the meaning of the verse, Gurmukh kadena ave har, the spirituality of the Shabd ensures kadena. That's a statement of surety. Ensures my spirituality never gets obstructed. It is always Mukta. It is always unobstructed. The next verse is interesting. It's got two new constructs in it. Tan hatadi e manavan jara. Now to get the meanings of these words we will need context, but somehow the context is not to be found in the previous verses. It is not found even in the previous Paurees. So we have to rely on Gurbani per se or Gurmat per se to get the meanings, spiritual meanings of these words. Now if we don't apply the spiritual meaning, then the meaning is something like what is given. Yeah, Tan hatadi e manavanjara is being translated as, in the store of the body, this mind is the merchant. Now store of the body for Tan hatadi is a literal translation, doesn't really make much sense. Mind is the merchant, literal, it does make sense, but it needs explaining. It needs elaboration. So let's try and look at the words one by one. Tan refers to the physical body. In the context of spirituality, we are not interested so much in the physical body per se. So nobody talks in spirituality about the color of our eyes or our height or weight or this physical constructs, they are of no relevance in spirituality. So whenever the word tan or physic is used in Gurbani, it really means the commonality that's existing in all the physical bodies, which are the senses. Hattadi comes from the word hatta, which is a small store. Yeah? A store is a place we go to get things we need. So in a sense, the store is a source of all things that we need. Yeah? A mana, literally this mind, but spiritually my mind. Now Vanjara literally is a trader, but one of the functions of a trader, when you put into context, yeah, we've been talking about unobstructed spirituality versus obstructed spirituality, we're talking about Gona versus Avgan, we're talking about Parama versus reality. So basically it's about going to the source to select some things and to discard some things. That is what trading basically is. Yeah. So this concept of Vanjara, there are many words here. Vanjara is a trader, the literal sense. Vanja is the trade. Vakhar is the material that is being traded. You see, Vakhar. So these are words that you're going to come across in the next Shabad, where these concepts are coming from. Guru Nanak Shabad Sri Rag Mahalla Pehla, Vanj karo vanjareo. Okay? Spirituality is a kind of a trade, in the literal sense. Okay? In the spiritual sense, spirituality is about making choices, about adopting certain things and about discarding certain things. Vanj kehte. Vanj karo vanjareo, vakhar leho samal. Be discerning. In layman's language, be careful. Samal. Be careful, be discerning about the vakhar that you are adopting. Vakhar leho samal. Samal ke chalna ਉਸ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਵੱਲ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੌਦਾ ਖਰੀਦਣਾ। ਵਣਜ ਕਰੋ ਵਣਜਾਰਿਓ ਵੱਖਰ ਲਿਓ ਸਮਾਨ ਤੈਸੀ ਵਸਤ ਵਸਾਈ ਹੈ। Invest, Vasak, invest your trust, invest your spiritual endeavors in those kind of vasta. Vast is also vakhar. In the adoption of those kind of things, तैसी वस्त वसाई है जैसी निभ है नाल. What does it mean, निभ है नाल? That will become useful in the process of our spiritual journey. In some places in Gurbani, the word tosa is used. Sorry, I hope I didn't make you hungry. Tosa is fair. Para kehne ha. It's also something that we give to get something in return. Je pade mein ant gubara har ka naam sang jara. You know where this is coming from, है ना? जहाँ पान तेरा कोना सजानू हर का नाम ते नाल पहचानू. So in that spiritual journey, in that Shabad itself, Guru talks about the costs of it, the investments that are required to keep the spiritual journey right, to invest our emotions, our endeavors and our efforts in the right things and not waste them on the wrong things. So that entire process is called Vanja, entire process is called Vanjara. Vanj karo vanjaryo vakhar leho samal taisi vast vasaiya जैसी निभ है नाल अगे शाह सुजान है. Agge means on the path of spirituality, the next step, the next path, the next pada, the next station, the next portion. That's okay. So we need to think of the future. Shah Sujan hai. Sujan is the opposite of ajan. Sujan is the root of Siana. Sujan. So Jan means changiyan cheejan janan wala. So Jan. And the opposite of so Jan is Ajan. You know, kuch janda hi nahi, ko pata hi nahi. Now, who is the Sujan? See, if you translate this in the Vedic concept, you will say, after death, we're going to take all the things we bought here, and there, the creator is a very Siana creator. He's going to tell us you brought the wrong things. Which all that has been negated. So, who is the Shah here? The conscience, pyareo. The conscience. Because all the investments that we are making, and all the the stuff that we are adopting, buying, so to speak, in the process of life as a trader in this world, now, all those things are going to be beneficial or otherwise to the conscience. Agge Shah Sujan hai laisi vasta samal. So be discerning, be careful in what you acquire. Laisi. जो कुछ तू लेंदा फिरदा ना, खरीददा फिरदा, बस संभाल भाई रे, राम कहो चित लाए. ओ माइंड ऑफ माइंड, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਾਮ ਰਮਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਰ ਤੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠਾ ਨਾ, ਤੇਰੀ ਕੌਨਸ਼ੀਅੰਸ, ਚਿੱਤ ਲਾਏ ਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਹੈ ਪੇ ਅਟੈਂਸ਼ਨ ਟੂ ਇਟਸ ਨੀਡਸ. ਉਹਦੇ ਵੱਲ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ, ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਰ ਵੱਲ, ਆਪਣੀ ਰੂਹ ਵੱਲ, ਆਪਣੀ ਕੌਨਸ਼ੀਅੰਸ ਵੱਲ ਚਿੱਤ ਲਾ. ਐਂਡ ਵਾਟ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ? ਹਰ ਜਸ ਵੱਖਰ ਲੈ ਚਲੋ. ਸੋ the vakhar that is being advised, le chalo, that will become handy on the journey of spirituality. Jai pande mein and gubara, that journey, that's Guru Arjan. The journey that is dark, not dark in the physical sense, that is being walked with unenlightened state of mind. Jai pande mein and gubara, har ka naam. The virtues of the creator would act as enlightenment and show you the way. Same thing here. Har jas vakhar le chalo, so dekhe patiyai. So then the conscience will be able to see. The conscience will be able to make choices on the directions to take and not to take in an enlightened sense, away from the darkened sense. Patiyai, patijana means spiritual joy. And the outcome would be spiritual joy. Okay? Now, so we come back here to the verse. Tan hatadi e manvarjara means the spirituality of the Shabd enables my mind to accept and reject the choices of my senses. You see, it doesn't appear very obvious. Tan hatadi manvarjara. But once you put in the context of the previous verses and put in the context of Gurbani into it, then we get something which is meaningful and something which is useful. It is the spirituality of the Shabad that enables the mind, our mind, my mind, to make the choices for our senses. We come to the final verse of Pauri 39, Gurmat Pyareo. Nanak Sahje Sach Vapara. O Nanak, it deals intuitively in truth. Such is not to be translated as truth, Gurmat Pyareo, that's the literal translation. Such in Gurbani refers to the Creator. Nanak, the spirituality of Nanak, Sahje, instinctively, without any effort now. Hukam Rajai Chalana. Okay? We are now flowing, the spirituality of unobstructed path. Come to think of it, when the path is unobstructed, there is no need for any much effort anymore. No? It becomes instinctive. Such a creator, Vapara, again literally trade, Vapar, but in this context of spirituality, the process of selecting what to adopt and what to discard. So it's about choice. So the meaning of this final verse, Gurmat Pyareo, Nanak, the spirituality of the Shabad enables me to instinctively realize my Creator. The opposite of instinctive is continuous and wayward efforts. Apply the same verse again. ऐसो अचर्ज देखियो कबीर दद के पोले बरोले नीर. The churning of water requires a lot of effort. But you can say that it is instinctive to milk to produce butter when churned. It's instinctive. It is a natural characteristic of milk when churned, yogurt when churned, to produce butter. It is an instinctive outcome of my spirituality to realize the Creator within when I have been guided, directed by the spirituality of the Shabad. When the messages of the Shabad drive my spirituality, then the outcome is instinctive. When the objective of my spirituality is set by the messages of the Shabad, then achieving, attaining and reaching that objective becomes instinctive. It becomes part of my spiritual makeup. It becomes part and parcel of my spiritual character. It becomes by definition of my spirituality in practicality. Thank you very much, Pyareo. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. गज के फतेह बुलाओ. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.